Ready. Check Monday, Wednesday, Friday, yeah, you know it's a go. Okay, I see they going off, but we gon' rewrite it though. That's right, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, yeah, you know it's a go. Okay, I see they going off, but we gon' rewrite it though. That's right, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, yeah, you know it's a go. Okay, I see they going off, but we gon' rewrite it though. I said Monday, Wednesday, Friday, yeah, you know it's a go. Okay, I see they going off, but we gon' rewrite it though.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Rewriters Room. We are the men with the pen. I am 1/3 of our incredible trio, Armand Sada, the John Cena of journalism, the Paul Heyman of podcasting, the Roman Reigns of rhetoric, the Brock Lesnar of broadcasting. Y'all know I don't do the show alone. Fellas, how y'all feeling?
What's good? It's CC, the best rapping producer in the whole wide world. God body, because I consume healthy products and do towel curls. Benevolent servant to the amethyst. Oh, well, let me bring that back. Benevolent servant to the earth and philanthropist. Every phrase that I say, even when I'm ever remixing that shit, is like an amethyst. You could put any nigga next to me. All right, so like I was, registering to vote or whatever, just registering earlier this year. I'm in line next to this one nigga. He going off about some random shit. Somebody called Q or some random shit. Literally every woman in there was like, whose man's is this? I may talk a lot, but I only got one thing to say. Love yourself and keep going. You are the world, so give all you can. Take care of your body, your people, and your land. Where my nigga Chad?
What's going on? What's going on? For the life for the mid-card mafia. We are high atop Mount mid-card. Gunther is here. It might be time for WWE's first triple champion? I think so. Our mid-card messiah has come. We were having some tough days there for a little bit, not being defended on pay-per-views, not being shown our proper respect, but he's come and he said there's a different way. The mat is sacred and there's just a different way things can be. So I'm just happy, we're back, we're fully back, 5-star back, you heard the crowd, you saw the impact, you felt them chops. It's back.
Absolutely. One could say H did, and one could say God did. Now, I know that we've talked about the school that we all went to, Cornell University, a little bit on the show, but it is even bigger Cornell energy here. We have the tribal chief of WWE 2K22, the man that has whooped my ass quite a few times in that game, former producer at EA, former producer for the WWE and WWE NXT, current global live services manager at 2K, and just overall an incredible, hilarious, passionate, creative dude. We got none other than Cornell Gunter here. How you feeling, my brother? Welcome to the show.
Whoa, this is top level. I feel wow, I haven't felt this warm of a welcome in a while. Like, thank you guys so much for having me. First off, CC, that was hard.
That boy good.
I was sitting there like, oh, he's spitting.
Okay, I never talk about this shit on the show, but I'm gonna just say it right now or whatever. Armand already know, Channing, I'm gonna put you on a little bit or whatever. I'm gonna just let y'all niggas know right now. This show is not the only thing that's gonna be dominating y'all lives when it comes to entertainment and shit like that. Like the Rewriters Room and RNC in general, yes, we gonna be killing y'all niggas, but we got other lanes. Armand already, making some strides in them. We gonna make that motherfucking pond into a goddamn pool, into a goddamn ocean. Watch this shit. We about to wave. I'm telling you, man. Wait till this shit come.
A storm is coming. A storm is coming. So it feels very good to be back with my guys. Feels very good to have Cornell here, and like we do when we have guests, just a quick interview. I don't think I've ever been able to formally tell you this, but I really want to thank you for the work that you put in for WrestleMania 36 with that Boneyard match and the Firefly Funhouse in such a dark time for us to get such entertainment out of those matches. Like, really thank you for the work that you put in. I know it was a lot. I know y'all had long ass days and you were up super late and all that, and obviously risking COVID, but like really honestly, thank you for the work that you do with those matches, man.
Wait, stop, nigga. Yes? Really?
It's him.
So wait, hold on. So I was one of the men on foot with a team of amazing individuals,
Yeah.
who are top tier, top of the class, the best at what they do. And there's no, don't thank me, thank Triple H, thank Paul Heyman, thank Vince. And I'm not being a bootlicker, as people would say, but but Triple H gave me the opportunity to film The Undertaker's last match, gave our team the opportunity, gave a lot of people the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
Do Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa's cinematic match, Velveteen Dream versus Adam Cole cinematic match,
Yeah.
And also the Cameron Grimes and the Dexter Loomis and all that with the Mello and all that kind of stuff. So we have the opportunity to do a lot of amazing things, and I'm just thankful, man. So now don't thank me, H did.
H did. So I want to ask, man, like when did you initially get into wrestling? Who were some of your favorite wrestlers? Like, what's your earliest memory when it comes to watching wrestling?
Man, listen. So I got into wrestling because my Grandma Rose, rest in peace on her soul. Man, she was in a hospital bed at my grandma's house when my family, for some reason, they have like this weird thing where everybody wants to live together, and I'm like, yo, get away from me. Like, of course, I love my family, but I like just being with my own family. Like, clearly, I get it. Like, I'm pretty sure once my kids get kids, I'm like, oh, we're gonna stay with daddy. But nah, man. So my great grandma lived in the house with us, and she would watch like Monday Night Raw and stuff at nighttime. And then I would crawl under her bed. I would be in there from like 4 o'clock to the time Monday Night Raw came on, just sitting there waiting for wrestling. Like, is it on next? Oh man, Texas Walker's Ranger. All right, next. Texas Walker's Ranger. All right, next. Like legit. So then man, she had like Mountain Dews and all that. So all I would do literally is I'm like 3-4 years old, just chucking Mountain Dews underneath the bed. And she'll fall asleep, but I'll just sit there and wait. And then all of a sudden, here comes Shawn Michaels. And I was like, yo, who is this guy? Then I see The Undertaker. I'm like, yo, hold on. And then, but basically that's what it was. Like Shawn Michaels really just he changed the way I look at wrestling. Even still to this day, I still go back and watch stuff with Shawn. I'll watch documentaries with my wife and be like, look, and no, you're not looking. Put the phone. You're not looking. Look, you see what he just did? But man, and for me, wrestling is just different. It's kind of like, like basketball's the same thing. Like with wrestling, I feel like time moves slow. It's kind of like when you play video games, when you that one thing that you got, that's like your niche and your groove, and you can kind of decipher it. It's like a different psychology to everything else. That's what it is in wrestling for me, man. Everything just slows down, and it's like the soft ballet music behind it.
Yeah, and then to get the opportunity to work directly with wrestlers when you're working with NXT, man, like, what was that like? Like just getting that offer letter and be like, damn, like I'm about to be behind the scenes helping put these things together. Like, what was that like?
I'll tell you right now, I dropped out of college to go pursue playing basketball. I told my quad the day before I was supposed to fly to Puerto Rico to go fulfill my obligations. I ended up losing my contract, and then I ended up volunteering at EA, right? And then over the time, I was like, hey, I can kind of walk now. Like, I'm gonna go get a job. Long story short, I get in like completely like ground level, base level job, making $9 an hour, working 60 hours a week. And I thought I made it at that point. I was like, I'm in the building, I don't care. And like within like 3 to 4 months, I got promoted to marketing, and then my check started getting double. And I'm like, oh wow, okay, this is kind of cool. And then everything was fine. But then I thought I made it. And then I go through stuff with EA, then I leave and I come back. And then I thought, I'm like, oh, I'm back now, I made it. And then WWE came knocking. And then I said, oh god damn, I've made it, dog. Like, and I think at that point in time for me, it was like, so I didn't cry then, but like if I was able to show emotions, I would have, because it's just growing up in a Black household where like nobody in my family graduated college. My parents had 5 kids. I'm the youngest of 5. I was always the golden child. I had like a lot of stuff in my life coming up that my parents always like, oh, you're gonna be okay, it's gonna be fine. So I was always the dude that always like, oh, almost like, okay, next time, okay, like, oh, all right, well, all right, I'll apply again later, or just keep me in mind. I was always one of those. So when I finally felt like, damn, I broke through, man, it was different. Like, and it touched me in a way that, man, I can't even describe. And it's crazy because my first day at the PC, man, I walk in, I'm super freaking early. I don't gotta be there at 10. I'm outside at 7:45 like this. At the door, just like this outside. And it's like
just like the guy in my rise.
bro, yeah, bro. Like, hey, and it's like, you know, that was the energy that I kept the whole time that I was there. But then I walked into that building, man, and it was just like, man, it was different, man. And my first day there, I'm sitting there and I'm just like trying to find stuff to do to keep myself busy because like I don't know what the hell to do. And all of a sudden I hear a voice, hey, can you help me with this TV? And I'm like, yo, that's Shawn Michaels. I know he ain't talking to me. Cornell, don't say nothing. Don't say nothing, bro. You just got here. Just be quiet. Yes, Shawn. You can help me with this TV. It ain't no problem. All I did was airplay the TV. I felt like I was my work was done. Like Shawn was able to do a skull session with his class. I was able to sit up and help him with his TV. But just like those type of like moments and opportunities and like exchanges that I got, man, that was amazing. Like, and I also like at the time, like, you know, my mom was so happy. Like my family, everybody was happy, but like my mom was really happy because, you know, she done went through a lot, and it just like she's like, baby, you made it. I'm so proud of you. So nah, man, it just the experience of being on a road with, you know, my friends like Tez and Dogs and B and, you know, Priest and Riddle, being able to travel town city to city and see them be able to, you know, to tear the freaking house down every single night. But also the ability to see like Triple H create, you know, Vince create, H create, no, sorry, the HBK create. Dang, I love Triple H so much. I said his name twice. But no, just be able to see them create, like, man, it's different. Like, it's a different thing, and you know, I think that's why, like, you know, when I did the A show months back after, you know, me and David, like, I ended up leaving and all that stuff happened, and everybody was kind of shooting on Triple H. I'm like, y'all are crazy. Now, I mean, now hindsight 2020. But no, man, it's just different, man. I just felt I was just, you know, I love going to work. I love being there because it just gave me an opportunity to do something that I dreamed of doing. Like people dream of being in WWE, and like, you know, people can shoot on us. I don't want to go there. Shit, I did, and I went and I came and I saw and I did my thing, and it was great, and I loved every second of it.
Yeah, and it's incredible to see you level up, man. Incredible to see you happy. But black men succeeding, it's nothing like it. It's nothing like it, man. So
and it's hard. It's hard for us because, like, you know, we're not trying to tap in too much into, you know, racial stuff, but man, we do got to work 5, 6, 20, 30, 40, 50 times harder. We got to make sure our nose is extra clean while everybody else can just be clean. And, you know, we just got to make sure that we are, you know, suited and booted and top of the line to fit whatever agenda that not they, but people want us to fit, just to make sure that we can get a fair shake. So, nah,
Yeah,
definitely.
I was about to say half the time you climbing that shit, it's just like you wearing the right camouflage to make sure your ass don't get clipped. You're like, that's like, yeah,
man. And I think that's one of the reasons why with 2K, man, I like WWE. You know, WWE. I never had like no crazy stuff. They always like respect me as me, and I was able to go ahead and, you know, just be myself and have a great fucking time. And like 2K, man, 2K is different, man. 2K, they changed my life. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. Long story short, I like 2K. They, you know, me and 2K been talking for years. Like it's like that one girl, like, oh man, you like her photo, she like your photo back, but then you hit her up and it's like, oh, not right now, I got a boyfriend. He's like, hi, I'm gonna catch you later. So, you know, when the time was right for me and 2K, man, it was just right. And then, you know, long story short, we go to Dallas or Mania, and it's like my first couple weeks on the job. So I'm like, oh, you know, I'm already gonna go to Mania, and they're like, no, we know you're going because we're gonna take you to Mania. So I was like, oh, I bet, say less. That's go ahead, shoot, girl, go ahead. But then it's like, man, so like that the love that I got from everybody, from Ronnie to like the top execs to even like, you know, people that I work on a daily basis, and, you know, and see how happy my peers, like, you know, WWE Super Level, my friends were, that I'm actually, you know, back out there and back, you know, moving and grooving after everything that happened, man. I cried that first night in my hotel room. I'm not gonna lie to you. I cried like a little baby on the phone to my wife, because it was like, I was telling her like a year ago, man, it was down and out. Like I was like, I'm at rock bottom. There's nothing good that will ever come from this. And she was always motivating me, always encouraging me, always just telling me, baby, you gotta just stay focused. I'm like, no, man, like it's over. Like, and prior to 2K, like I had talked to the Miami Heat about going there after WWE, and that was like, oh, but then it's like, I know my worth, and I think that's one thing that I develop confidence in this, understanding my work, to understand that I work hard. As much uplifting as I do for other people and try to do that, I need to look in the mirror and say, bro, you are talented too. Like, you are gifted, and you are special. And I had to challenge myself to hold myself in that regard.
Yeah, I love
you
it.
gotta do that shit regularly, bro.
Yeah.
Regularly, I'm saying that as I'm saying the shit to myself too. Like, This shit that like my girl be telling me and shit like that. I'm like, I know, but she be looking at me like, yeah, but nigga, still like you have to really do the shit. And it's funny because what happens is I know what you're talking about. It's ironic, and it's probably happened to you too. The more you start to do that shit for yourself and get comfortable with only wanting that shit from yourself, the less you need it from other people. But then you start getting more from them niggas. Like you just walk in the door and they just giving you shit. So it's like, yeah.
Bro, listen, I think that was the biggest thing for me is that once I was able to fully lock in with myself, and like I even like I'm not gonna lie, a couple of days ago I go back and look through that whole stuff that happened in Dallas last year, just remind myself like, no, bro, like they want you here. You're here for a reason. And you know, my boss and everybody I work with at 2K, bro, they're like so reassuring. And going to a big corporation that's already $1 billion company, shit, I'm like, damn, y'all don't need me. I'll just hit it. They're like, no, we do. That's why we came after you. And it's like, yeah, it's like it's just different, man. It just you know, I loved EA, loved WWE, but I think 2K for me was the best fit for me, you know, in general. Like WWE was amazing. I had a great time, but 2K was the best fit for me.
Awesome. And man, you was looking good ringside with that title suited up too, right?
Yo, everybody was like, yo, why this fan at Mania with a suit on? Like for context, we had like you know, summits and meetings and all that kind of stuff prior, you know what I'm saying, to that. But I mean, shoot, if anything, Sunday's best. You feel me? Like, but even that, bro, we're upstairs in this, you know, we're upstairs watching the suite. We're just talking. They're like, hey, we want you to go down to watch Stone Cold and the main event with Kevin Owens. I'm like, word? Like, I'm like, y'all know this is WrestleMania, right? And they're like, hey, why don't you go front row? Yeah, you can go down with Ronnie. And I was like, for real? And it was like, yeah. So I went down there, man. It's just like those kind of gestures of somebody who, you know, I worked at WWE. So like I was able to watch WrestleMania stuff from the floor level, but say, no, we want to put you in the front row. Here, don't worry about nothing. You just go have fun. And I got to just go mark out. I was like, man, I love y'all so much. But yeah, man, it's just those kind of moments, man, just life changing for myself.
All right, three questions. And again, this is for you public listeners. You will hear the first question. If you want to hear all of it, you got to subscribe to the Patreon. Subscribe to the Patreon /The A Show RNC. So let's get into question one. Fellas, prior to this unprecedented Universal title reign by Roman Reigns, how many times was he a world champion?
5.
5 is correct. There you go. All right, Chin on the board with 1 point. All right, so for our listeners who missed out, make sure you subscribe to that Patreon, patreon.com/The A Show RNC, where we talk about chicken and pancakes versus chicken and waffles, who the CM Punk of music is, in a very fun Before We Write segment with Roman Reigns trivia. Now, to get into our pre-write, storylines that we are enjoying or we dislike in current WWE, AEW, or any promotion. Let's start with our guest, Cornell. Well, what are you liking or disliking in current storylines in these wrestling promotions?
So what I like is Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns and the Bloodline interacting on Friday nights.
Absolutely.
My dog.
Yeah. My dog.
My dog.
I say it in my head so many times throughout the day. My dog.
It's so funny.
Hey, so I like the Bloodline with Sammy. Yeah. I'm loving Control. I'm loving the establishment of Gunter on Friday Night SmackDown.
Yes.
I'm loving 2.0. Like I'm loving everything that's going on. I like the build of Braun. I think he had a great showing with Tyler Bate. I felt like that kind of showed him in a different bag, versus just being like a muscle bound, you know, a guy. I think Tyler was able to bring out something inside of him. Now the stuff that I don't like, oh man. So I'll just go right to AEW. No, because I'll talk about stuff that I do like for them, but stuff that I don't like is like I don't like the fact that Warlow got cooled off already.
Yeah,
I don't like the fact that
just getting interested.
Yeah, but like I don't like the fact that a lot of their superstars who you fall in love with that become over, they end up just saying, okay, well, we're going to take you here and put you down right quick. We're going to put forth XYZ. And it's just like, well, then why'd you put something in front of me if I can't have it?
Right.
Basically type stuff. So it's just like, and you know, I feel like there's a lot of inconsistencies, and not just in wrestling in general. So it's not like just AEW Pacific, WWE has it, and so there's like Impact and everybody else. What I did like the whole reveal of MJF just at the All Out pay-per-view.
Yeah,
that was super creative. You know, like whoever thought of that, good idea. But it's just one of the things where I just feel like they were able to make that moment feel big. Like it sucks that everything happened backstage. That kind of overshadowed that, but that was big. And I like Jade. I like Jade Cargill. I feel like she does have potential to be one of the biggest women wrestlers in the world. What I don't like is that how they're kind of doing her run. Like first Athena comes in, and then her and Athena are battling. Then it's her and Chris Statlander battling. But I know Chris Statlander goes down with the injury. But then Athena doesn't be seen on TV or has any type of interaction with her until a week or two before the pay-per-view. So then you kind of forget the match is even happening. And then I feel like for the tag division, the belts is kind of trying to figure out what's going on with the tag belts right now. So I clearly, they got stuff going on right now.
Well, you see, AEW actually has 8 tag belts. FTR have 3 of them, and Swerve only have 1 of them.
That's
a lot to keep track of.
I feel like so with the tag belts. That's the only thing I'm gonna say about that media scrum. It's like for the fact that somebody asked Tony Khan about calling an audible to make Swerve and Keith Lee lose right in front of them might have been one of the most disrespectful things I've ever seen happen. Because it's like, if that was anybody else sitting there, the Bucks, FTR, and all that, they're not running that question. They're not asking that. They're understanding, what's the Bucks FTR? So they're gonna let that happen. But I felt like it is because it was Swerve and Keith Lee at that time. And the reason why that question got asked is because I don't think AEW has established them as a real dominant team, right? I feel like FTR is way more established, has a more powerhouse tag team and more believable to win every single title than Swerve and Keith, which is crazy because those two are two of the arguably most gifted guys in their whole entire company. That's no shade to nobody. That's just speaking facts. Those guys can freaking go. So I just feel like it's kind of like I don't know. Again, it's kind of like the start stop. It's kind of like, I'm learning how to drive. I hit the brake real quick, and it's like it's hard for anybody to get behind it. Of course, the Acclaim is going to be super over. Why? Because Max comes out with his mic and he does his thing. He knows how to pop. He take the hottest storylines. He'll flip it into something, and everybody's like, "Oh!" Like that was the thing last week. Everybody's like, "What is he going to say when you get that?" I'm like, "I know he's going to say something." So I just feel like for AEW, if they stop cutting themselves short and they be able to fully develop their characters and fully develop storylines, a lot of stuff will turn more into the positive instead of unfortunately the negatives. That's just me, though.
As one man would say, stepping on their own dicks. Like that.
Hey, hold on. Cornell did not say that. I did not say that at all.
He said, I would like the record to reflect.
I did not say that at all.
Not me.
And my lawyer, Greg Statman, can testify to that and clear me up any and all charges.
He said, participation in this podcast is not an endorsement of any of the statements made.
I agree. Cornell, I know you do got to get out of here soon, so I'm gonna kind of go out of order just for you. I know.
Thank you.
You are a huge Roman Reigns fan, and this reign that he's been on is unprecedented. And for what we're doing for the rewrite is we are picking a moment throughout his 2-year reign where if you could pick an opponent that would have beaten him before he hit, this unprecedented, what's it, 740 something now, almost 750.
Yeah, he hasn't been pinned in over 1,000 days, but go off.
Insane. But if you could pick anyone and kind of create a story out of that, like a moment, who would you pick and like how would you have done it?
See, my love for Roman runs deep. I was at the PC when he returned back from cancer, and they shut down the PC. Nobody was in there. So that Chronicle when he's in the ring with like Kona Reeves and everybody, the Chronicle, like I'm in the background of it. When I was helping out Joey, who also does like all the Chronicles and all like the top tier documentaries for WWE. But getting there, getting to know him for those couple of days and talking to him, and it's like just us in there, so nobody else was in there, and just hearing stuff that he was going through. I was like, man. So when he came back, I was like, I'm not gonna lie, I was on the other fence. I was like, man, they doing the same stuff. So I'm trying to force him, let him be him, because I used to go to the FCW shows down here in Tampa, and then when stuff transitioned to Full Sail, when the Shield, was making their way out, I was down there, so I watched him go. So no, I appreciate the Tribal Chief and I acknowledge him. However, if there was anybody that was going to be fortunate and blessed by God himself to beat the Tribal Chief, it would have to be my other fave, which would be Seth Rollins. At the Royal Rumble, and the only reason why is because you already have Brock and Roman already coming on that collision course, because Roman had already cost Brock that title and all that kind of stuff, So you already got some stuff already cooking. So I feel like you could have had Brock and Roman finish off their feud at WrestleMania, and I feel like Seth going against a debut in Cody Rhodes and somehow dropping the title to Cody Rhodes, just like that would have been like, yo, what just happened here at WrestleMania Night 1 type stuff. But that's just a mark in me. But yeah, I think it would have been Seth. And also, it's Seth been the MVP. Like, you know, Roman has had amazing stuff, 5-star matches every single time. I don't care if it's a 30-second match, 5 stars. But I feel like with Seth has been able to tell different kind of stories on a different level and being able to capture the audience. Even if his story isn't as, you know, deeply seated as Roman, like Roman, him and Jay had one of the craziest feuds ever. But I feel like Seth and Cody, like Cody wrestled one arm, and everybody's like, yo, that was a 5-star match. Yeah. Seth Hell in a Cell with Edge, 5-star match. Seth's whole feud with Edge, incredible. Seth's feud with Riddle, like the fact that they sat there and talked to each other on TV for 4 minutes, and everybody was like, yo, what Seth said, yo, Riddle, you still there? Like it's like right, but it's those kind of things that it's like, man, this guy is different. And like the fact that he wasn't even on SummerSlam, I think circle right back up at Clash of the Castle, and it was like, yo, that match was hard. It's just like, I feel like Seth, that's the only person I could have logically say that it worked. Their history, right? Yeah. Seth chair broke the Shield, right? And the callbacks during the match, Seth coming out with the Shield gear. There was a lot of
that was so hard, man. When he came out with the gear,
bro. It was so many mind games that Seth was able to psychologically mess with Roman that if it all fell apart, it makes sense on why it fell apart for Roman. 100%. So yeah, I would say Seth Rollins is my final answer, locking in.
And I think that would have been so interesting too, with Seth as the Universal Champion going into WrestleMania with no opponent. Like just how crazy he is. Like, yo, how do I not have an opponent? Like, I'm just gonna do an open challenge, and then Cody coming out, bro.
Yo, exactly.
Oh my god, that's real hip hop.
and then Jesse Madden, Cody comes out, Cody beats him, and everybody's like, yo, what? Cody just won the title. And everybody's like, oh my god. It's the shock factor, it's the wow factor. It's kind of like when Seth cashed in on Brock and Roman years ago and won the title, and there's the, you know, we call it the heist of the century. It kind of gives those kind of feels. But yeah, man, I think it would be Seth. Because also that 3-month reign of him being that title, holding that title, whatever, he would have gave you some bangers and told you some stories.
Absolutely.
So man, I again, Seth Rollins, that's on me.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, brother, we want to thank you again for joining us on Rewriters Room, telling us these incredible stories, bringing the spice, bringing the energy. I know I'm gonna probably see you on 2K later. And also to thank you for helping me get my skills up in it too, man. It means a lot.
You see that? No, you see how the whole time it's like, oh, you're spicy, you're this. And he didn't tell you. So when everybody comes into the RNC group and the Discord, there's rules and regulations you will follow. And the first thing is, I'm gonna touch your pockets, and I'm gonna like, hey, do you play WWE 2K? And if you say no, I'm gonna tell you, well, play WWE 2K22. And if you do play, I'm gonna ask you what console you're on. They're like, well, I'm not on PS5. I'm like, well, I'm on everything. And then after that, I'm gonna tell you, we gotta fight.
Yeah.
And then it's gonna hurt. I'm gonna win. And I'm gonna talk a lot of crap, and I'm gonna post about 10 screenshots of every single match result. It's gonna be just like that back to back. I'm not gonna lose any health. But then after we establish that I'm the one, I'm the best in the world, I'm the tribal chief, the head of the table, you know, me. Once you can see that I'm backing at what I'm saying, then I'm gonna say, hey, so let's jump online. I'm gonna teach you some things and let's work. Because then it's like, then you join my bloodline. And then, you know, when the tribal chief, when he's with his bloodline, he's at the strongest. So if anybody ever came at like RNC, like a different group, you know, just it's off the brand. If any other group really want to accept the RNC as a little thing and try to challenge any of us, and everybody is sharpened up because the iron sharpened all the other irons. Like, but you know, so he always tells, he says this stuff. But yes, I did. We did load up, and I did do a lot of violence. But what I did show him was a different way to play.
Absolutely.
And a different way to be aggressive, to take out your opponent. That's all it is.
Yes.
You know what's funny is that's what you just said is like the whole plot of like the Jay and Roman feud. It's like I had to beat you up, you know, I had to make you tough. So what steps to me? But
Armand,
it made you better. That Hell of a Cell match made you better, Armand. You had to do that.
Tell them what happened the other night. We had a best. Didn't you have a series the other night? What happened the other night?
Yeah. Me and John Barnes since a 7-match series. He had me down 0-2, came back 3-2, took another L, but I finished it off. Randy Orton, a little super RKO. So
won, and he won.
Yes, sir.
Because he's a winner. He's a winner, right? See, and you know what's crazy? He was like 72 to 96 hours removed from playing me for about 45 minutes to an hour after work. So he's putting in the time.
Yeah, man.
Grinding.
He's grinding
in
it
the
out.
dungeon. He's in the
Absolutely.
dungeon.
Listen. If y'all thought Stu's Heart Dungeon was crazy,
I just want to say I acknowledge you, my tribal chief, and I acknowledge your greatness and all you're doing. Thank you again for popping up on the show. Sorry for keeping you a little over time, but
this was amazing. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you guys for having me on here. Please, Patreons, subscribe, and the public people that's trying it out for the first time, stay here, stick around for a very, 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 very long time, because it's great content. It's great topic from 3 different diverse backgrounds that give you something different, and that's the thing. A lot of podcasts or shows and all that, everybody kind of keeps the same formula. It's different. CC came over here and started freestyling, started talking, introducing Chan. Like, God damn. And also, I mean, you'll never see a podcast have 3 gentlemen, Black gentlemen from Cornell University, Ivy League school, top of the line. So it's like, listen, man, they smart, they real smart, but then they also, they have the information in the data to back up all of their opinions. Like, you talking about John Legend with pancakes and waffles, like and chicken. Like, this is my kind of show. But anyways, man, thank y'all so much. I appreciate y'all. Y'all. I'll catch y'all on the Discord.
Yes,
y'all
sir,
be easy.
All right.
Gee.
Whew. We just got put over by the tribal chief. I mean, if y'all wasn't listening before, if y'all ain't subscribed to the Patreon before, if you ain't bought WWE 2K yet, I think we just gave you multiple reasons to do so. But jumping back into the pre-write, I want to say hashtag CC was right. I remember a conversation we had, it might have been a year ago, about Aliyah and her potential to be great.
He did say that. She's
got the look. She's got the quirky personality. All we really needed was to give her more time. And the in-ring, ever since she became a tag team champion with Raquel, the in-ring is stepping up. Did y'all see her do that spear on Friday? Did y'all see her do that spear on Friday?
Hey.
Man.
Bless her little heart.
She is working.
Let me tell you something.
She going.
I'm not the guy who can spot any and every talent or whatever. What I'm really excellent at is experiencing something and being able to call that shit out again or whatever. Everybody know this about me, whoever been close to me or whatever. I like weird girls. Weird ass girls that's my thing. You a weird ass girl, you probably gonna come hang with the kid over here. Like my lady's a weird ass girl. She great, but she knows she weird or whatever. But when I see that shit, I could call it, but there's like a certain level of like quirky and shit where you can sell the personality. And I immediately saw it in Nikki ASH back when she was in NXT. Like, I saw one clip of her and I was like, that's fucking, just put her in whatever, she'll do it. Like, she can do that shit. And then what I saw in Aliyah or whatever when she came out was you can see in her eyes that she's smiling through the fact that you're saying, like, you're kind of looking at her like, who is this? Like, why are you smiling so hard? God. But she's like smiling through that shit. And it's like, oh, okay, or whatever. And then I saw her in ring and she like starts to do like these weird little things or whatever. And I'm like, oh, okay. All right, I immediately see it. I'm just like, oh, this makes total sense. Like, if you ever need like kind of like the spunky chick, and especially if you want to put a heel way on it, like she can be the spunky chick, but even be like a heel way or whatever. But like, she's got it. She's just one of those people who's dedicated to like kind of selling what's going on. And I picked up on that shit immediately. But the other part that I picked up on was that she was really being herself with it. And I was like, if she can like get to the point where she really starts to believe in that, and we're starting to see that shit now, I'm like, you cannot discount this fact. Pretty people make more money. I'm sorry, like when the people who hire wrestlers are looking at wrestlers, do you think there's a fucking coincidence that Roman Reigns is where he is right now? Part of the reason is because we all know what a lot of women think about Roman Reigns. It's just like,
it's like my girlfriend said, they're strong actors. Yes, they're strong, but they're still actors. And one thing about actors, they're beautiful people. Like, that's just how it works, bro. Like,
this is what I'm saying.
You can't be having no ugly world champion for too long, bro. You just can't.
So sorry, bro.
Sorry. Plus another huge factor, which is social media and gaming and stuff. And there's all these different forms of content where people exist. And then you look at her again, and then you go, well, shit, if she's going to commit to that in ring with her body, well, this ain't shit to do with like, oh, let's shoot a little skit over here. Let's go send her over there. She can like appear on this show, blah, blah, blah. She can play up certain things or whatever. So I was just like, nope, that's money right there. We starting to see that shit. I told you, man, I can see that shit.
You had the vision, my brother. You had the vision. Chan, what you feeling pre-write wise, my brother?
So, I hate to say this, hate to be this guy, but Ronda Rousey is growing on me. I think I've been bitten.
Same.
It was something about how she stepped to Shane and was like, yeah. But like, don't like ask, I don't want luck. Get revenge. Like woman up. Like that spoke to me in a way. I was like, oh, like, yeah, be tough. Like you shouldn't be nice. Like you are mad violent. Like there shouldn't be no like, yeah, I'm just gonna try hard and be no, like I'm better than you. And I think she's leaning more into that. Hopefully, that's part of her character evolution is getting that way. But it's something about it. It's doing for me. It's working for me. Maybe it's the live component too of like that's a good foil for her. I don't know, but something about Ronda just being rude and then just being like, no, I'm going to come in and squash y'all. Like Sonya, you are not as good as me. Like you simply are not. Like that. Something about that speaks to me. And I also think part of what I'm also feeling is like a Charlotte in the ether, and I really enjoyed their last couple matches. And so I'm like, if we could run that back, wouldn't hate it, So I don't know, but Ronda's the Pingy with I know that was like for her training stuff, but that was a cool. So she is like you like learn about her as a person. Oh, that's interesting. I'm doing something that's cool. I don't know. It's working for me for whatever reason. Maybe it's Triple H. That's one of his people. Maybe that's what it is. But I'm liking it.
They're doing a really good job adding layers to her character because, and we've talked about this before, when she came in 2018, it's like, oh shit, like the greatest MMA woman ever is a WWE wrestler. So like that's kind of the thing that we attach to her. And then you see her debut match with Kurt versus Triple H and Stephanie. You're like, okay, she can go in the ring. She wins the Raw Women's title. She's cooking everybody. And then she runs into Becky and Charlotte at WrestleMania. She takes the L. She goes away. She's away for like 3 years. Comes back at the Royal Rumble, wins it, and they're still trying to push her as a face, but she's kind of an awkward face, and it's also that luster of her being, from the UFC, it's kind of over. So it's like, what are they going to do with her next? And they try to push her as a face again. It felt awkward. Her mic work improved a little bit, but she still wasn't there. And now it's like she's the baddest woman on the planet. The baddest woman on the planet should be a heel. She becomes a heel. It just feels so much more natural.
Yeah. What I like too?
Go ahead.
She started doing is like she would do this thing where like obviously if you watch the rest, you notice this. Before she would like do her last finisher, she would talk and like say something. And at first it would feel like she was talking back to the crowd, like she was legitimately like responding to them or upset. And which is, whatever. But now you can tell she's like thought about what she's about to say. Like with the match. So she was like, yeah, I'm about to break her arm. No, I'm not about to. I'm about to. And she's like working into it. You could tell she's like leaning into her actual character of like, no, before I do my finisher, I have a little thing I'm going to do. And I'm actually taking the time to think about it and plan it and do swerves. And like that to me, I like, it's not purely that UFC reactionary. Like I just have emotion. I'm showing it. It's like, no, I'm playing a role and I'm going to like sell to the crowd a little bit and do the little like circusy stuff that maybe I thought was stupid, but has value at the end of the day. This is some carny shit. It's wrestling. Like, you got to do the stuff. And so just even little details like that, I enjoy better.
Bro, something happened. Like something happened in between like a couple months ago and what she did with Adam. When she something fucking happened. Even like you could start to see it when she was throwing the money out because it was kind of awkward, but I could see where she was going.
That was so fire.
But something happened where she was somebody just got in her ear and told her, it was like, yo, like fucking talk to these niggas, bro. Like talk, like
who you are, like
Rock, talk to this nigga. Like that's somebody told her to do that shit. Yeah. She got on with Adam, and I'm looking at her. She's got the mic in her hand. She's like standing next to Adam looking at the contract, blah blah, like looking back, and I'm like, God damn, she looked natural as hell. This is like all smooth as fuck right now. None of this feels awkward. And then she's like, they go through the whole segment. And then, you can tell she's doing so well that Adam realizes he needs to do a good job.
Yeah.
That, like, I'm calling you a bitch line. You can see he's kind of like pumping himself
up.
Bro.
And that's because she had the energy. So it's like, oh shit, she making other niggas do their promo better. Yes. Oh shit. And then I was like, okay, now we got a Ronda. And then when they showed her with Shayna backstage, And she was like, yo, fuck all that other shit. Like, let me know. I say, oh, I said, whoa, we got something here.
She said, yeah, fuck all that.
But all I know is I need that nigga and wait, maybe one or more other nigga to just be in like this fucking WWE shit or whatever, just fucking destroying niggas. Like, I love what Control is doing, but like Ronda and Shayna and potentially another person, but like just them two, they give me like a female like APA plus something else.
Yes.
It's just like, oh shit, like you
and
don't
part of it is
everybody getting their ass beat.
And that's the thing. Everybody's getting their ass beat. Like Ronda and also Shayna can plausibly be in the ring. It's like Rhea, whereas Rhea's in the ring with Dominic, and it's like, no, Rhea is the dominant athlete here. Like Ronda was in that ring with Adam. It's like, no, Adam, you should be afraid. Yeah. And it's like, no, they are like legitimately like scary. Where it's like, no, anyone outside of like obviously some like Braun Strowman, like if Ronda and Shayna are in the ring with Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa,
packed up.
It's an even match. Like it's physically there's no advantage there. Like they are sizable and like know how to fight. So yeah, it's like that's a totally scary fact. It's like a different level of like, no, they can step to really anybody.
100%. CC, what you got for your pre-write, my brother?
Shit. The title of my pre-write is Trick Love the Kids, but not Tony. So I've been showing my girl the product, as I'm sure y'all have or whatever. And you know, because I show her like multiple products, she's seen like the WWE, so she's seen AEW or whatever. And she she's has some questions as some other people when she sees AEW. She's like, why don't they do X, Y, and Z? Blah blah. Not to the point of a formula, but because specifically her, she works in marketing, communication, like all of that kind of stuff is her lane. Entertainment, she knows this shit, so she's like, she knows how to produce a show, so she's looking at this shit saying, why are they doing certain things? And I'm like, I don't know, man, but I look at that shit and I'm like, you can work that out over time. You know what I mean? Like I've seen, you can look at any nigga's first like podcast and stuff or whatever, if they done like videos and shit. Armand Yo shit, like I'm sure you've probably looked at your old shit now. I'm like, damn, I can't believe I just had that basic setup, like with just that one angle or whatever. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, so I get that. What I don't get is the basic part of this, which is what Chan just pointed to a little while ago. This is carny shit. The word carny comes from like carnival. When you're running a carnival, who you usually want to bring are like families, particularly kids or whatever. And there's big business reason for that or whatever, right? Because multiple people get hungry, multiple people need to get on the ride. So if I can bring one car with like 5 people in it, I'm expanding how many things I'm selling and stuff like that. It's just good business to do or whatever. And in addition to that, kids are like, it's cheaper to impress them. It's easier to impress them, and you can keep them hooked for a good amount of time because what you're giving them, no, it's not like they're an adult living a life and this thing needs to be really invested in them. And like it's not their money being spent too. Like that's a big factor. So they can always just ask for it. So like certain things like that you have to keep in mind whenever you're running a business. And when you're running a business like wrestling, which is a business that almost everyone who's either in or on the outside of it but has something to do with it will tell you, yeah, when I was a kid I saw blah blah blah, and that's when I fell in love with wrestling. For the most part, some people fall in love as adults, but for a lot of people they fall in love as kids. It's just like the one thought I had when I was just watching AEW this past Wednesday was, how the fuck is a kid supposed to fall in love with this? Like, I was looking at it, I was like, oh shit, like, because I always thought about looking at the crowds, and I was like, yeah, I get that they're edgy, so there's going to be a lot of adults, but I was like, bro, this is like the 4th time I done watched this shit, and where the fuck are the children? Like, I know there's like a couple kids here and there or whatever, but it's just like, when you think about it, like, why the fuck would you sell action figures if there's not kids there to buy action figures? Why would you sell goofy ass shirts if there's not kids who like goofy ass designs to buy these shirts? Like, yes, some adults are going to buy it, but what you really want to do is put it on a 7-year-old, send that nigga to school, and have all this other 7-year-olds go, oh, what is that goofy shit? And get more 7-year-olds. Because that's not going to happen with adults. Niggas don't show up to work and see niggas with a Bullet Club shirt and be like, ooh, nigga, where'd you get that? Like, so like from a business standpoint, you talking about how much money you got, I can clearly tell that, like, for one, we all know this, like, you didn't go out and get that money. Not only that, I don't know how good you are at maintaining that money, but you certainly aren't good at like going out and getting more or whatever. And this is not a dig to you. This is a critique to help you like level up from a business standpoint. why are you only focusing on people who like edgy, not WWE shit? There's so many more people out there. There's a bunch of kids and like younger people who are into gaming, but are also not into WWE, who might actually fit your like. What are you doing to go out and get them besides putting 170-pound nigga in a Halo outfit or whatever? I just don't get. Like, this is what I'm saying. So it's just like, you know, when I look at this shit, I'm just like, listen, there's a lot of things that could be fixed here, but from a foundational business standpoint, there's certain things that are going to be missed that I don't think that are like, unless they get fixed, they're not even going to get the chance to fix like the production level shit that we're talking about. So like, dude, I don't know. Like, to me, this shit looks like a snowball. Somebody needs to put their foot down and kind of like stop this shit, because this shit look weird. But it's just like, man, I just thought about it and I was just like, why doesn't your promotion like kids? Like, for real.
You know what? It was my first clue to that was when I was on YouTube. I followed their YouTube account because I like to watch some of their stuff. Contrary to probably, I do be watching some of their stuff. My boy Malachi Black is gone, but he was there. So I had to make sure he was all right. When they'll put some of just the entrances on YouTube and not put them on TV. And I'm like, I get it. Them long ass Roman 12-minute entrances are boring. But you know who doesn't think about that? Children. Children love watching these. I was a kid. I love, give me a fucking 20-minute Undertaker zombie entrance every single Friday, and I watch the whole thing. I'm locked in. Kids don't care. But you're not thinking about the pageantry, the cool stuff, and then having, even, it's so stupid. But you know what pops me every time is the pictures of like, oh, this is Charlotte Flair and Sasha Banks during Triple H's entrance, and these are these wrestlers during this entrance. Like, even to have that little stuff of like, oh, this is Seth Rollins helping out John Cena when he was like, that is cool. And just to not have that is like, yeah, you're not thinking about the children. You're thinking about the adults who just want to watch the wrestling. Like, you're not thinking about the kids who are just want to go to YouTube and just, I will just watch Undertaker Returns top 10. I'll just watch them. That's all I want to. I don't want to watch the match. I want to watch the Undertaker entrance. That's what I want to see. Like, it's you're not tapping in on that level, and that's how you say you're not serious about your business. So you're just not.
You know how many times I've watched Stone Cold shower them in beer and Kurt Angle with the milk truck? Like, you don't understand. Like, it's like,
as a kid, that's all you want to see. You're not thinking of like work rate at 7. You don't know what a LaBelle lock is versus a Kinshasa. You don't know these things.
Yeah, and you know, I think something that I've just recently, because I've been watching AEW more. Like, I watched All Out. I tap in the dark as well too. Like, I've been making sure to be aware of the product as I critique it. And I think, you know,
15 matches in a row. I'm sorry,
bro. Yeah, all Out was a lot. Like, I started watching it like pretty late into it because I brunched that day, so I took a long mimosa nap. But like, even what I watched was just a lot. And like, my girl was like, "This shit is still going on." I was like, "Babe," because the day before we watched Clash at the Castle, 4 hours done. Like quality stuff, you got in, you got out, but it was like you were entertained. Like, I think we were with a friend. Well, I don't think he watches wrestling. Opening with the Bianca, Asuka, Alexa match versus Damage Control, he was like, "Yo, that shit was so cool. Like, that was so cool. Like the women's wrestling is incredible." And I think, you know, what we got to realize with AEW, while they want to be competition to WWE, they're just not equipped. Like, they just don't see the full picture. They just don't. They don't have that vision. Like, Tony Khan so badly wants to be like Vince, or he wants to be better than Vince, but like, you don't think like Vince, bro. Like, or H now rather, but like, you just don't. You don't get it. And you know, they got a lot of reassessing to do. Like, you know, it will take a really long look in the mirror for him to accept, like, all right, while I love all these wrestlers I'm signing, and these are dream matches to me, I got to do shit that the people are going to care about. I got to do shit that the kids will care about. And like, I just don't think like he's got that. He just doesn't have that higher level of business mind and wrestling mind. Like, he's just putting on cool matches with flips and cool indie guys that his fan base enjoys. And that's fine, bro.
Said in the scrum, I did this because I thought the fans would think that was cool or whatever. And I was like,
you don't know the fans.
Business decisions?
It's just because you thought it was cool, bro.
What? That's how you make
$50 a pay-per-view, bro. These pay-per-views are expensive, dog.
Bro, this is what I'm saying. I'm like, these are investments being made. People are also like, you don't get to decide like whether or not this like show gets broadcasted and these people get paid. That's the other thing. Like, people's livelihoods are dependent on this, and it don't feel like niggas is taking that seriously, which
They
I
not
take
being
seriously.
serious, bro.
Like, as someone who's like in the process of building a business right now, one of the hugest things I'm focusing on is, if I bring somebody in, how can I make sure I never have to look at them and say like, yo, I don't know how you gonna feed yourself and possibly like your family or whatever, blah blah, because we not really doing like. What? I can never put myself in that position. Like, what the fuck, bro? Come on, man. This shit is ridiculous to me. I'm sorry.
It's embarrassing, man. And like, I've been having a lot of. I remember a year ago when CM Punk debuted and Bryan and Cole came. A bunch of my boys tell me, "Yo, WWE is cooked. Vince McMahon is shaking in his boots." I talked to them recently. I was like, "So, how you feeling about CM Punk's first year? Like, how you feel about AEW overall?" They're like, "Yo, it's a mess over there." I'm like, I told you I'll wait and see. I don't want to shit on it. I don't want to be like, I told you so. But like, honestly, I'm sorry for y'all because y'all want to enjoy this product so much. You grew up watching WWE, which WWE has its misses. I would never say WWE is perfect, but they shoot a high percentage. And AEW had all of the potential to really be not just a viable like second option, but like even like take over. Like they had WWE on the ropes and they have fumbled everybody, all these game changers, Keith Lee and Swerve that we talked about. They just handed Cesaro the ROH title and like just all this shit. And it's not looking good, man. It's really, really not looking good.
You know AEW debuted in 2019.
Yep.
Do you know how many people have been AEW champion?
5, right? 5 or 6. It was Jericho, Moxley, Omega, Hangman Page, and then Punk. Yeah.
Yep, and it's gone back and forth between Moxley and Punk. Like, be serious, bro.
Yeah, it's like long reigns are cool in making someone look dominant, but the reign has to be good. And from what I know, people didn't seem too high on Jericho. People were happy for Moxley, but it kind of got old. Kenny Omega is just, he is who he is. They made Hangman Page look like a fucking chump. He looked like a chump during his reign. And then you put it on Punk, and Punk is a 2-time AEW World Champion, maybe 3-time at this point, 6 days. He hasn't even been champion for a combined week because he's so fragile. It's just like, man. And then when he has to give the title up again, you do this tournament, but like you give us Hangman Page and Bryan in the first round. A match that was for the title months ago. You give that away in the first round, and you make Hangman Page look like even more of a chump. Like, come on,
Sammy
man.
Guevara.
Come on, man.
All this for Sammy Guevara.
Come on, man. Like, it's
be serious.
Like, I'll slander, I'll critique, but you look at that roster, it's like you could be doing so much. Why is Malachi Black not gotten a world title match yet?
Yo, they do not have a bad roster. Like, that's
they don't. They have mad talent.
They got NXT Black and Gold. They got the whole roster.
Bro, yeah, I was gonna say when it first kind of started, I wasn't really into a lot of the niggas that was like there initially or whatever because I'm not really into the indie shit and I'm not really watching other than the E. That's what I started with or whatever. So that's just I mainly do it to catch up with the shit that I already was on. So like I'm not really catching up with that shit or whatever, right? But I'm paying attention or whatever, and I'm watching here and there. And over time, I'm looking, and I'm like, all right, okay, that guy can kind of talk or whatever. And I'm like, okay, that guy wrestles good. And I'm looking, and I'm like, all right, they have more and more of that to the point where they got people, wrestling online, and they got put everybody in factions and stuff. But I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, this is overbloated. A lot of this is fat that you can just cut off or whatever, right? And then a lot of these are guys that you can take or whatever. And regardless of how it feels to your fans, you need to like make sure that they always look crazy. There's no reason I should see Wardlow in the ring for more than 2 minutes ever. Like he should just be, that's your Goldberg. Just have this nigga come out, destroy niggas or whatever. And then eventually he works his way up to, destroy somebody who's like closer to the top. And that's great because you can now take that person who's close at the top and run a new angle with them to where they're like protecting their stuff away from this beast monster kind of thing. There's like multiple ways, but you would have to think down the line to fucking do that. It's just like, I don't understand why like you want to, it's like, what it's like? It's like someone walks in the pantry and they're like, I could make a meal out of like those 5 ingredients, these 7 ingredients, or these 12. But they're like, instead, I'm gonna try to cook a meal for the next 3 months with everything that's in this fucking pantry. And it's like, why? What for what?
Bro, it's just like a rapper who puts out like a 25 song album that isn't even that good and immediately gives you a deluxe with like 15 more songs. It's like, bro, you wouldn't even let the first album that wasn't that good cook, and you immediately want to drop this like you want to go number one so bad that you're trying to game the system, but you're not giving quality. You're just giving a lot of quantity, and that's not it. Like Pusha T's album 2018 Daytona, 7 songs, fantastic album though. And then you look at all these younger rappers, all these Lils giving you 25 song albums, and it's like, bro, if you cut this down and you just focused, you could have something great here.
That's what you gotta do when your shit is stepped on.
Yep. But let's jump into this free ride. That's enough AEW talk from me. Cece, I want to ask you, man, what stipulation would you put on a Rey Mysterio versus Dom Mysterio match?
All right, I thought about this one. And here's what I thought. When Rey was bringing his family around for different segments and stuff, first of all, both his wife and daughter they're great at this shit too. Mm-hmm. They got it. It's in the whole family got this shit. They just got the wrestling bug, like you can tell. So here's what I was thinking, or whatever. You could just do kind of like a disowning match or whatever, where it's like whoever loses get kicked out of the family, and they mom and sister is there watching that shit front row. My nigga,
had a household match. Whoever wins,
head household, yes,
had a household match. Man of the table.
I was like,
head of the table.
Exactly. How could we? I was thinking how could I tie back in like kind of like what was going on with like Eddie with the kind of like the family thing without directly going at Eddie, because I don't want to use Eddie. You know, you don't want to use Eddie, but you kind of like it does make sense to kind of stay in that lane since 1, they are family, 2, they've already kind of done that, so it'd be like kind of a cool callback to do family stuff. But like considering how good like the wife and daughter are acting or whatever, I think you run that angle. You could run that for like 2 months or whatever and have it climax at a pay-per-view where they do a household match. It's just like whoever loses, they get disowned from the family or whatever. They have to drop like, them. It's a fight for the last name Mysterio.
I was just about to say, loser has to lose the last name. I was just about to say that. It's like Shane versus Vince, but just 2 guys who can wrestle a little bit more. Like, I mean, it's the same basic premise of like, except for the company, it's the last name, the Mysterio legacy. I don't care what you call it. And you're wrestling for the legacy. And it can be a ladder match with a mask up there.
That's what I was just about to say.
Nigga, I hope somebody's listening to this shit. Please,
Galaxy Brady.
Because that would be such a crazy callback to the infamous 2005 custody of Dom Mysterio match. Custody of the Mysterio legacy, the Mysterio name.
What a shot!
Yeah, pull down the mask.
Yes.
Oh my god! It's
right there. WrestleMania 30. It's right. That would be like the video packages of like the mom and sister going back and forth, choosing sides. In the end, like the mom like turns on Rey because he's like, "That's my son. I can't let him lose." Or like you could just go so many ways. It would be like a telenovela. It could be beautiful. Like, oh my god! That would be crazy.
I am salivating at this idea.
Yeah,
salivating at this idea. Chan, I want to ask you, if the Bloodline were to have a tag match at Survivor Series, would you rather it be Drew and Imperium, Drew and the Brawling Brutes, or Drew and some of Roman Reigns' past ops? And if it were Drew and some of Roman Reigns' past ops, who would you put with Drew in that match?
So I just want to make sure, because I was thinking about this for the question. We're saying all 4 of the Bloodline, not just like Roman's not in a title match. He's wrestling with his family, so it's all 4 of them.
So yeah, Roman, Jay, Jimmy, Solo, and I mean like I thought about
Sammy 5. Like, are we going?
So it's like 2 different ways they could do it. I was thinking if Roman Reigns at that point has a champion versus champion match, then Sammy, Jimmy, Jay, and Solo potentially.
Okay. Then I will do the 4. I do like. It's something about like the Imperium versus Brawling Bruce match is fire. I have never in my life, and I've slandered Sheamus a lot, never been so interested in that.
He is over.
like when I say that he did them 25 beats in the Bowery and I was doing them,
He is
like
over.
like Rover. He has
Oh my
never been more
God.
captivated. My
The
hat's off.
crowd was screaming, Shane missed. He looked back and he was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, I feel like he didn't expect that just because like
multiple. Yeah.
He's been so consistent. He's been such a workhorse. It's like, you fuck with Sheamus in ring, but
banger,
bro, and it's just like wow. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say, like, yeah, it was like this is a man who's been a multiple time world champion, and he has never. I've never like watching that match, Clash Council. I was like, I almost got emotional. Like, I'm so happy for you, bro.
Yeah,
because like when I say these people is banging with you right now, like they like you have never been this over, and that's got to be a wild feeling to come out and the whole country is like, nah, like we're here for you. That was fire.
Especially because it was such a natural babyface turn. Like,
100%.
It wasn't like rigid and it just like happened out of nowhere. It's just like, oh shit, like this is happening. Like we need to go with this because this is what they want.
The
like,
people have spoken.
This is such good shit.
I'm watching 99, and the whole time I was watching late 97 to this right now, that's exactly what they were doing or whatever. Like that's why The Rock ends up getting his chance or whatever and turning into like the corporate champ at some point. That's why Mankind gets Mankind got his music because the crowd was pushing him. Then he got the championship and was like, all right, you need new music now. So they got so I was watching all this shit in real time. Like when it happens like that, shit is amazing.
Yeah. But I gotta say, like, getting that man Gunther close to the Chavo Chief, it's something cosmic about that, man. It feels like it just feels like it's something special right there, man. I just feel like getting Gunther, it's just the Imperium entrance is
bro,
it's just beautiful.
Especially the way that they introduced Vinci at Clash.
Yes.
Because like I didn't expect that. It's like, he was doing a solo thing NXT, it's cool, whatever. This is where he belongs. Like this is really 100%. Where he belongs. And the way that they emphasized him and then introduced Gunther and they all come out in the all black, like
I've never seen a tracksuit look so regal. Right. Like it's with just the country flag on the trunk, it's beautiful. So I think Bloodline with their kind of like family wildness and the Imperium's kind of like business aspect to it. And then you have Drew being like, we're gonna do this a Euro guys thing and like respect each other type, the Mattis. I just think that when you talk about like a collision course, and I think it obviously, like I said, it sets up the end of the match where, if Drew and them win, Roman comes out, he's staring down Drew and Gunther, and you're just like, I mean, this is Mania. I mean, this is money.
Give me that triple threat match.
Yeah, give me that trouble every day of the week.
Oh man.
So yeah, I think Imperium with Drew is just too special to pass up.
Real hip hop. For me, Bobby Lashley versus Gunther at Survivor Series. How would that match end? This is tough for me, man, because these are two guys that they have. This is some of the best presentation that they've ever done with the mid-card titles, like main eventing shows, and they feel so important. Bobby is super protected, but Bobby's the best he's ever been in his career. I know I've been critical of him, but like I gotta hand it to him, man. Like he's putting on great matches. Steel cage match with Miz, like the match with Ciampa, the match with AJ Styles, like Bobby's doing this thing, and Gunther, it just goes without saying, man. Like Gunther could beat you with a chop, a power bomb, a lariat, like he could do whatever. So the way this match would end, man, I don't know. It's tough. It's tough because like I can see a scenario where Bobby picks up Gunther for that vertical suplex, and he's holding him on one arm and calling the crowd into it. But then I can see Gunther chopping the shit out of Bobby's pecs, but Bobby got big pecs, so that's gonna sound Sonic. Crazy. I feel like Gunther would probably end up going over though, perhaps due to Kaiser and Vinci getting involved. I don't know. Like I think we'd see a spot where like Bobby puts one of them in the hurt lock. And then like Gunther pops up behind him, turns him around, chops him, powerbomb, get the W. So it wouldn't necessarily be clean, but I feel like I would probably have Gunther go over. And Bobby loses nothing losing to Gunther, man. Like he loses 100%. Nothing losing to Gunther, especially like the title isn't on the line. This is a showcase, brand versus brand. So like it's fine. But I think I would probably have Gunther go over. And at some point, if one of them go to each other's shows, without their title and they have a title match like that match would be phenomenal. Like you don't got to put a stip on it. Just give me 2 out of 3 falls. Actually,
You know what would also be kind of spicy in a Bobby Gunther match is if you could somehow get Cedric and Shelton back involved.
I was gonna say,
like if Ludwig and Vinci are doing something and they come out and help Bobby, and even if Bobby still loses, and that could be a cool, like, that's a takeaway positive for Bobby that he's got his muscle back with him and the Hurt Business kind of back.
Turn the Hurt Business face.
Yeah,
immediately over.
And it's like there's so many great tag teams now. Like I've enjoyed the whole champion versus champion thing that they started since 2016. I think with so many good tag teams now, like the tag division just feels like, oh shit, like there's a lot of really good options. I think they should go back to the whole, like, not just like 5-on-5, like feuds within tag teams. Like right now they have Hit Row work with Street Profits, and then Los Lotharios working with Maximum Male Models. Like you could do 4-on-4s, you could add somebody to those teams, or do like American Alpha with the Viking Raiders versus like New Day and I don't even know, like maybe Riddle and Randy Orton when Randy Orton comes back. Like there's so many great things they can do. Like I'm getting so excited thinking about Survivor Series. That is one of my favorite PLEs, and thinking about the potential of it, because the champion versus champion matches are going to be hard. But if they kind of go away from that and do like 4-on-4 blood feud matches and then have actual title matches on the show, then this could shape up to be one of the best Survivor Series that we've seen in quite some time. So I'm just excited fantasy booking it for real. But to get into our rewrite, this is a man that we've rewritten before, but as we said earlier before Cornell had to pop out, Roman Reigns, man, an unprecedented run, and we've waxed poetic on this man so many times. I mean, the in-ring has stepped up, the mic work has stepped up, the presentation of the character, the merch, the bloodline forming. It's just like, this nigga got so many cousins, man. Like you just like.
Hey, did you see the thing from First Take today? You see how timing works out? Did you see? Bro was wearing a Roman Reigns shirt on First Take, said "Acknowledge your daddy."
Mm-hmm.
The impact,
bro. Yeah,
the impact.
It just moved a little.
Just,
bro. Yeah.
The island of relevance. Welcome.
Yeah, and it's like, yo, to give him this after the way his career is going, coming in with the Shield was incredible. And, they were really trying to push him as a face and people weren't really taking to it. And then, he gets cancer and leaves and he comes back and people are happy, but then they go right back to booing him. Like they really locked in an incredible character. He's been a great champion. We've said this before on the show. Me and Chandler talked about it before we started recording. The amount of TV defenses of that title that he's had, the Braun Strowman match, Daniel Bryan match, the Finn Balor match, the Riddle match, the Sami Zayn match, the
Tez match.
Yeah, like, and then his non-title matches, Montez, Xavier Woods, like the man has been a very present champion. I know, like, recently he hasn't been on the show as much, but it just makes him feel even more important, because when they advertise Roman Reigns is going to be on SmackDown on Friday, you're going to tune in. It's like something important is going to happen. And so, I really got to hand it to him. As much as I was ready to see him lose at Clash of the Castle, because I love Drew McIntyre, like, I have no problem with this reign. Like, it's been one of the most interesting, exciting reigns. And, like, long reigns are hit or miss. Like, if you don't have the right opponents, or if you just don't do things right, like, it can get really, really old. But this reign has been absolutely crazy. So I got to hand it to him, Paul Heyman, even Jay and Jimmy Uso, Sami Zayn is doing his best work solo.
Yes.
It's been fantastic. I don't know if you guys have anything to say about Roman.
I just want to say something. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Like, and it's just a perfect, to me, example of how great this reign is. Whoever came up with the simple phrase "acknowledge me" should write a book. Like that is like that. It's so just like to the 2 words, to the point. And it's like, it encapsulates the whole character. Like, I don't need you to bow. I don't need you to do anything. I need you to acknowledge. So you and I both know I'm your tribal chief. Acknowledge me.
Stopped in the middle of the match, asked for a microphone, looked at 60,000 niggas that he'd probably never see again, and said, "Acknowledge me."
Acknowledge me. You don't have to move. You don't have to call nobody. In your seat where you're at, to yourself. It can be between you and your deepest, darkest secret, but deep down, you know I'm your tribal chief. And that's the energy he comes with everything now. And that's that confidence. It's something where it's like, as soon as he came back, you're like, oh no, he's in a different, this is different. Like when he came back during that match with the
media
thing.
Yeah.
So the reporter,
bro,
what do you want me to do? I want you to acknowledge me.
I love that
Y'all niggas said
that he
kayfabe was
stays in
dead.
character. I love that he
Y'all
stays in
said
character.
kayfabe was dead. Y'all told me kayfabe was dead.
Yeah.
He said you goddamn right you do, and
Yeah.
walked off.
And it's also the progression of the acknowledgement, because it started as something that like he would say in promos against other guys, and now it's something that when he steps into the ring and he's talking to the crowd, he says it to them, and everyone puts their ones up and everyone goes crazy, whether they're booing or cheering. Like, it's become this thing that, you know, when Roman Reigns gets a mic, you have to acknowledge it.
Yeah, and it's almost like the inverse. This is how powerful it is too, and this is how like people like Kurt Angle, John Cena know this. You can have a "you suck" that's actually beloved. It's just a thing we're doing, and the acknowledgement, if you're like watching it literally, it's a negative thing. He's telling you how not good you are. Like, you need to bow down to me, and everyone is just that excited to do it. Like, that's how over he is. I'm like, of course, Roman. Like, you've just shit on my city for 30 seconds, but of course I'm going to raise my finger, even though I want Drew to win. I have to acknowledge you. Like, what else could I do? It feels like it's not. I mean, of course, you are the tribal chief.
Yeah,
like that's how beautiful it's not even it's a full sentence acknowledgement.
Yeah,
and you know exactly what to do. It's that quick acknowledgement.
It's incredible. But for a rewrite, over the course of this 2-year reign, Roman has faced a lot of elite opponents, and I'm not gonna lie, there have been a lot of moments where I thought, oh man, Cena gonna do it, or oh man, Finn gonna do it, or oh man, Kevin Owens gonna do it, and none have been able to do it. However, for our rewrite, if you all could pick an opponent that would beat Roman Reigns over the course of his 2-year reign and take that Universal title, who would it be, and how would you do it?
All right, I'll start. All right, so I got it. The first one that you said, that's what I thought was gonna happen. So I'm gonna just do this right now. Everything happens the way it normally happens, all the way up to Cena at SummerSlam. But with Cena, wait, let me just double check to make sure. Hold on a second. Cena at SummerSlam. Yeah, all right. Yeah, all right. So that's what. All right, cool. So like Cena with SummerSlam, right? They have the match or whatever. Like, you know, they're having the match at SummerSlam. Everything's going the way it's going or whatever. It looks like Roman's about to win at one point, but then Cena does a Superman thing and kind of kicks out. Roman's like, I don't know what I need to do or whatever. Cena comes, it looks like he's about to FU him, but then like Roman kind of like, as he's like lifted in the air, he like Superman punches him or whatever, but he like Superman punches him into the ref, and then the ref gets hit. So like the ref is like out, and then like Roman's like, look, well, I tried all this other stuff or whatever. Like, you know, he's like, you know, pass me a chair or whatever. He's going for the chair or whatever. As soon as he's about to swing the chair or whatever, ref is still down or whatever. John Cena just like kind of kicks him. He drops the chair. He goes to hit the FU. I call it that. I'm sorry. That's what it's called. He hits the FU to Roman on the chair or whatever, and he ends up winning. Prior to this, he had hit the FU like maybe once or twice. Let's call it twice or whatever, because it's Roman or whatever, right? So yeah, hit it twice. He hits it the third time on the chair or whatever. Roman's out. Ref just gets back up. Slow count. John Cena wins the championship at SummerSlam. We like, oh shit, what the fuck is going on? Roman is out of it, like he has lost it. He's like, what the fuck? Like he just cannot believe it. Cena is like having a great time, because if you remember, Cena was like playing with Roman at this point, or whatever. Like he's like, he's basically treating it like, I am John Cena. I'm the one where it's just like, you think nobody can kind of win. I'm the one who kind of wins or whatever. And like, that's what they're kind of playing on for this or whatever. So that's why we all thought like, oh, it could really be Cena or whatever. So like Cena plays on that even more after he wins or whatever. And he knows that Roman wants to come and get him. So he's just like avoiding Roman, saying like he's busy with like movie stuff. So this is how John also like promos his stuff through the WWE crowd at the same time. So like they'll cut to him live on set or whatever at like Peacemaker or some shit like that, whatever. Just, they're just like live on set, like somewhere doing something, he's recording, whatever. He's got the belt or whatever, but Roman's there, and like Cena was advertised to be there too, whatever. So like this goes on for a couple weeks, and then like Cena doesn't show up again. Roman just like can't take it. He starts taking it out on other people backstage over a couple of weeks. And then like Cena like finally comes back at some point and says he'll defend his championship at the Royal Rumble. He doesn't care what Roman wants for the match. It could be any stipulation, blah, blah, blah. Cena's finally in ring to say this. Roman's right up next to him with the bloodline. Roman just smiles or whatever, and he looks like everything's on his side. And Roman grabs the mic to say, "You don't know." And this is towards the end of the show. He grabs the mic to say, "You don't know what you just did." And before he can say "did" or whatever, all you hear is dun, 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 dun. Brock comes out or whatever. And what it is, what we get revealed to next week, is that what happens is Roman and Brock or whatever, like, you know, they had their issues or whatever. So what this leads to is Roman, Brock, and Cena in a triple threat for the championship at Royal Rumble 2022. Oh, we going stupid right now, my boy. So we going stupid, my boy. So that's what we got at the Royal Rumble or whatever. Roman and Brock end up fucking each other up so much and like having so much shit going on between each other that they kind of cancel each other out, and Cena like sneaks in the win or whatever. So it kind of still plays in line with the fact that like Cena's kind of just here having a good time while Roman, like he's like kind of shitting on Roman, which just adds to like Roman's anger. And it's important that Roman becomes angry because I have him turning into like a different person later. So like his anger is just building, and like you see more of the rage and the way he wrestles and stuff like that. And it gets scary to the point where like now you're like kind of seeing him be very beastly, kind of like Brock is. And it doesn't take away from Brock. It just adds to it that much more when they're both in the ring or whatever, right? So then Roman and Brock kind of have a program because they realize they kind of screwed each other out of like kind of winning the championship. That kind of goes on for a while. Cena looks like he's in the clear. He's not really around for a little bit. And then that kind of happens until we're like halfway to Mania or whatever. And then you see somebody getting their ass kicked backstage or whatever. It's like, oh shit, that's Cena getting his ass kicked. I didn't even know he was here or whatever. And then you see who's kicking his ass. It's Seth Rollins or whatever. And this is all a setup for a fatal four-way with Seth Rollins, Cena, Brock, and Roman at WrestleMania for the Universal Championship, bro. We talking about one of the greatest wrestling matches of all time. Roman ends up winning and gets back to his reign because at the end of the day, he does have the bloodline or whatever. So the bloodline is here. The difference is we just debuted Solo Sikoa a little earlier. He comes out at WrestleMania 2022 or whatever. He doesn't necessarily get called up. He's just like, you know, he's kind of there and you know he's there or whatever, right? So that happens or whatever, right? And then Roman goes and makes adjustment to the bloodline, and then you just see like this whole, like his second reign as Universal Champion, it just turns into this whole different thing. He starts involving like a couple more people in certain ways or whatever, and then like you see him like backstage, like with deals and stuff, and essentially what the bloodline turns into is kind of like this mob figure. So like Roman goes from being like the tribal, like he is the tribal chief, but the tribal chief is kind of like moving like Godfather type of stuff. So it's like he's like that, like running the show on that kind of level to where people are kind of scared of him kind of thing. And it just turns into this whole thing like that. So like that happens for a while, whatever. But basically he just becomes this character where he's just kind of like this mob boss. And because he's a mob boss, I have Daredevil come and take him out, and that's KO. He surprises him with the Money in the Bank that KO won in 2022. He surprises him at Royal Rumble 2023, and he gets the title off of him or whatever. And that sets up a whole nother thing or whatever. But yeah, that's how I got it going.
That's hard. I rock with that. I really do want to see more multi-man matches for Roman. Like, you know, I don't know how much longer his reign has, but that triple threat at WrestleMania 37 is incredible.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I looked at that and I was like, bro, we could do that shit with like insert any three of these niggas. Let's go.
I think, and I thought about this too, even when SummerSlam happened, when Brock came out, I was like, oh my God, is this going to be a triple threat match? Mm-hmm. But then when they didn't do it, I was disappointed. But then I was like, you know what? You're probably right, because I simply don't know if my heart could have handled that. Yeah. It's too much match. Like it's like, even just thinking about it, it sounds fake coming out of your mouth. Like there's just no way John Cena, Brock, like who's going to win? How could they all have to win? Like it's so much match. It's too powerful. It's like, that's a match you bring out when they're like, hey, you know what? Climate change is hit. This is the last WrestleMania ever. This is it, guys. Like, this is the one. This is the last one. That's when you crack Roman, Brock, John Cena. Because that match that could be the whole show.
Yeah.
I'd watch 30 minutes of that.
I would too.
Just to cinematic it up. I'd watch the whole thing.
Especially if you made it like an elimination match too. Like I feel like I talk about this a lot on the show, but I miss elimination matches. Like I really do. Elimination
I tweeted that
tag matches.
Yes.
Like
they had one that
all
fatal five way was elimination. I was like, I prefer this over sudden death every time. It's better every time.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Cece, what you got, man? Who you picking and how you do? I mean, I'm sorry, Chan. Who you picking and how you doing?
So my original thought was Cena because it should be Cena. Let's be frank. As a statement of record, it should have been Cena because that's John Cena, and we respect John Cena in this household. But you know what? When I think about it, and I remember I was sitting in my room. I watched this Sunday morning. I was watching your boy Drew's little entrance. And I said, you know what? They fucking with this guy, huh? People in Wales, they like this Drew. And the match goes on, and you just hear them, and they're just they're dying on him. Like, if it was gonna be Drew, this is the day. I was like, this should have been it. So if Roman was gonna lose, it should have been at Clash of the Castle. Like that Drew, when I say it was on some like Goku Super Saiyan level, like the city, like he was making the spirit bomb of all of like the UK. Like it felt like he had the world on his shoulders, dog. Like I was like, if he wins this match, the stadium will not stand. Like they'll rush the ring or some shit. And so I think what should have happened, you have the matches going on normally. Jimmy, Jay, Sammy come out, chicanery, they're distracting, Roman, whatever. Jay's like, hey, go get the belt. Sammy, go get the belt. Sammy's like, my dog, of course, I'm gonna get the belt, smart guy. This is outside the ring. He goes and gets it. Drew closed like outside the ring. Sammy seeing his opportunity to finally earn his spot in the bloodline. He sees it. The ref has been knocked down by a unsuspecting Superman punch. He goes for the hit. Drew ducks. Sammy hits Jimmy Uso. Jay sees this. Roman sees this. But unfortunately, Roman did not see Drew there. So all Roman saw was Sammy hit Jimmy. And Jay's already on bullshit. So Jay's like, this is what I'm talking about. I knew he was out for it. So Jay loses his mind, starts beating up Sammy. Roman is pissed, but he's like, oh, man, I get back to the crowd. But then you hear a rumble. You hear a rumble. You're like, oh, my God, I forgot about Drew McIntyre. 3, 2, 1. Claymore County. 1, 2, 3. Drew McIntyre is your undisputed WWE Universal Champion. What I think you do to Drew at that level, it don't matter if he's a monster and he loses as soon as he gets back stateside. That moment, you will all, for every single video package, every single Drew championship run, you could have him in every kissing babies in the UK. Like, you could have him looking like the literal king of England. I mean, it would be crazy. Also, what it gives you a perfect, easily opportunity to do, SmackDown, you can have Jimmy and Jay jump Sammy again. Kevin comes out, saves him. You now set up your tag match at Extreme Rules easily. Roman says, no way, you should not have beat me. No DQ match at Extreme Rules. Oh my goodness. Solo Sikoa debuts. Roman gets the title back. And we're back where we started. I feel like it was an easy pivot. You had it right there. I get it. Roman's amazing and like the impact. But I just feel like if you were going to do Drew, and then that would have been the way to do it. And you also easily get Kevin in. And you push back Solo like a month. So you give Solo like one more 2.0 feud or something. I don't know. But I just think that would have been a fire way to put it on Drew. Just that shot of him in the ring, that would have been perfect to me.
I think that makes Drew even bigger amongst the fans. And I think that makes Roman's character even more hated as a heel if you run it that way. That would have been crazy.
Yeah, because Roman's like feels like I should still be king. Like these flunkies have yet again failed me, and you could have that angle of him beating up on Jay and Jimmy again, and like that dissension. And you could be like, "Where was Paul? Where were you at? I knew I shouldn't trust Sammy." And because I feel like Roman's thing is like kind of like you were saying, Armand. It either needs to be multiple threats, like a multi-man match, or it has to be an internal like collision. I think that's the most natural ways to get the Roman Empire to fall apart. And I think the internal thing of like, you hit this chink where you just struck it right. We were in Cardiff, Wales. It was the perfect day, the perfect match. And then it starts to be, I can't depend on the bloodline anymore. I think that's the best way to, you keep Roman very strong because all it takes is, 6 months off TV. Roman comes back at a random pay-per-view and say, "Oh yeah, of course Roman. He's Brock Lesnar. Like, of course he gets a title shot. You don't have to do much for Roman." So I think you get it off him for a little bit. I think you build both.
And with you saying that, selfishly, of course, I wanted Drew to win, but I think it would have made Drew look even bigger if Solo Sikoa did come out, but like Drew overcame the Solo interference and then still beat Roman, or you give him that moment where he's holding up both titles in Wales, and then like he steps off of the turnbuckle, and then Roman starts beating him up. The Usos come out, Drew gets through all of them, and then Solo comes out, helps them jump him, and sets up something for the future. Like there's a couple different ways they could do it. Obviously, I understand. You want to push Roman as far as possible. You want to get him to 1,000 days. That's fine. But I think with the story you told, like there's so many different ways that they could have done it. And I really love that Sami and KO came up in both of your rewrites, because that's who I'm picking, Kevin Owens. Now, if you remember, he had that TLC match at TLC 2020 that he lost due to Jay interference. The steel cage match later that week that opened Christmas SmackDown that he lost due to Jay interference. And then the last man standing match at Royal Rumble that he lost due to Jay and Paul Heyman interference. So I'm taking it back to TLC 2020. Now, at this time, Sami Zayn was the Intercontinental Champion. He lost that title to Big E on the Christmas edition of SmackDown. So what I'm thinking is, you have KO lose that first TLC match. You have KO look like he's about to win that steel cage match. Jay interference, he loses. Sami loses his title later that night to Big E. At the very end of the show, when Big E's in the ring getting carried by everybody, you have KO walk into Sami's locker room. He's like, "Yo, Sami, you just lost your title. Look, we were magical as a tag team back in the day. Roman has Jay, who keeps getting involved in my matches. I promise, if you help me, we're good. I'll give you a title shot, but because Sami was a heel at this time too, so like KO's really trying to get in his ear and like convince him to help him out, all that. And I think the reason I want to do this is because over the course of Roman's reign, he's had Jay, he's had Paul. Most of the people he's faced haven't been in tag teams besides like Rey and Dom Mysterio. And so like that moment after Last Man Standing, where like Edge won the Royal Rumble, he's in the ring with Roman and all of them, and like KO comes in and stuns him. I would have been like, yo, a Roman and Jay tag team match versus KO and Edge would have been fire. Like that would have been a cool one-off. So you give KO Sami. KO spends all the time leading up to his Last Man Standing match at Royal Rumble trying to convince Sami. Last Man Standing match starts. KO's getting a shake-in with Roman. Jay comes out. The handcuffs. It looks like KO's about to lose. Sami Zayn comes out. Haluva kicks Jay. Haluva kicks Paul. Haluva kicks Roman. KO hits him with a pop-up powerbomb. Powerbombs him through a table. Swanton bomb, stunner. KO wins the Last Man Standing match, wins the title from Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is going psychotic. Doesn't have his title anymore. He's pushing Jay around like, we need to handle these guys. We get a one-off tag team match at Fastlane. And then at WrestleMania, it's KO versus Roman. Sami's in KO's corner. Jay is in Roman's corner. And then what you do is it looks like KO's about to win. Sami takes out Jey Uso. You re-debut Jimmy Uso at WrestleMania 37. Have him come help the Bloodline. The Bloodline is standing tall at the end of the show. That's a big spot for Jimmy coming back. And yeah, it's just real hip hop. So that's how I would do. I mean, ultimately, in all of our stories, Roman ends up getting the title back because, I think after this 1,000-day reign, it's unprecedented. It's a huge milestone. You kind of want to start running up Roman's reigns. Like, I don't think he'll ever get to like 16, but like 10 to 12, put him in that Randy Orton, Triple H territory. And at the end of the day, even if he has less overall reigns, it's like I held the title for 1,000 days in like one of them. Like, yeah, none of y'all have done this. So I think it's time to start getting him some more reigns. So that's how I would.
Speaking of, where is that man Randall? What's he been doing?
He's still recovering from injury, but man, there are a lot of big spots that debut him.
There's a viper-sized hole that we could really use right now.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to when he comes back because man, it was just magical as a babyface this last year. It's been awesome. So yeah, those are our rewrites. That is our season finale of season 3 of the Rewriters Room. We want to thank y'all for locking in with us once again. A really great season for us. Thank you to Cornell for coming through. Thank you to Black and Outfield for coming through last episode. We gave you guys a new segment in Before We Write. And, I think it's been fun to discuss some non-wrestling things or aligning wrestlers with people in music or people in music and wrestling. And, I think we just keep getting better each season. So we're going to take a little break. We will be back with you guys probably before 2022 ends. But we really want to thank y'all for taking this ride with the men with the pen. We hope you enjoy the episode. Of course, if you are not subscribed to the Patreon, patreon.com/the A Show RNC for bonus content from the A Show, from the War Report, spot callers, whichever Diaries Meals does next, our question of the week, information on merch. If you haven't copped your A Show shirt, make sure you do that. We got a lot for y'all. We always looking out for y'all. But again, thank y'all for riding with us for this season. And we will be back soon.